All right. We are gonna make some stuff happen. I didn't realize that the water would trigger that beep code. So that's a thing. If you put two leaves next to each other, can you still walk between them? And what does that mean? There would have to be land between them, which would mean that they can't be moving. So yes, unless I misunderstand the question. So the problem we have is that our code for pushing and stuff doesn't appropriately do the right thing. So I've got this illegal move problem that we came up with last night. And so the problem is that happens because the code just looks at the current world state. And what we're actually saying is, look, if we want to start a push later, after this Lily transaction happens, what is that push going to be? Now, before I go and do this, I can think of some alternative ways to handle the problem, like we could force the Lily transaction to complete and then just do the push. If you ever do this, but that's pretty ugly. And although we could try it. I mean, honestly, that might be because we only can get into this situation if that transaction is live. And if we're saying it's okay to complete some things early, then maybe we just do that. You know? Like, it would be the easiest, simplest thing for now. The alternative would be let's turn off the beep because it's annoying. The alternative would be, and we may end up doing this anyway, would be to change the push code to have more information. Like right now we just say, oh, you're pushing this row of things and we have the entity pointers. But if we store like the entity pointer and the position you're pushing from and all that, then we can do like what would the pushes be at a given time. And that's a little bit scary because it involves changing like a whole bunch of stuff. Like you're querying world state at a given time as opposed to now. And the naive ways of doing that are really slow, and the faster ways of doing it invite mistakes. And mistakes are not good right now because we don't like mistakes. Because we're trying to get our system to work. So I'm tempted to just as a really fast, crappy thing, like force this and see what happens. So like, first let's turn off the frickin' beep because we're not working on visuals right now. So the beep is off. I mean, 2 lily pads, one after another, like I had yesterday. Why would that not work? What do you mean by walk between? You mean walk from one to another? Yeah, we did that last night. Okay. I'm going to try this stupid hack. Well, let's go look. So the problem is, right now, when we go update the move transactions, this happens at a certain time during the frame. Where we do the visuals, we do some transactions. And then we do some completed stuff, right? Transactions that are completed move things around. Okay, completed is not something that we have to worry about. Because completed is like a visual thing. If we were to force issue some of these transactions, we really just have to worry about like support changes. And those happen just in update move transaction. So it would be like this stuff. Basically this whole thing. Like, okay, we can, like this code is kind of awkward because this is just for one transaction and then we set this variable and then we do this. And like supports to update will not be set either unless physically moved, and cause change will not be set. So like this looks like a bunch of if statements, but it's really not. Like all this is actually nested. Oh, well, this isn't. actually, okay, no, this isn't. This whole thing isn't. Oops. This is, though. Whoa. Do we ever set cause change to false? Okay, we don't. I don't think. So we might be doing this every frame down here. Like, let's just do that. So cause change is just being set for this to decide if we want to do an undo end frame. Oh, but that's only when it completes. So we don't ever set it to false. We just destroy the transaction. So this wasn't happening multiple frames. No, it was happening multiple frames because this, ugh. Okay, whatever. Post move reevaluate was happening a lot, which isn't something. Okay. So this whole supports to update can go in here. And then this can go in here. Okay, and the reason we're factoring all this is just because we're probably going to put all this into a separate function that we can call to say force retired transaction. And it'll do all this stuff. This is good because this is closer now. This update supports is here. I mean, it's kind of gross to call into this, but we're going to try it. Okay. Let's just see if we broke anything. If you could make this just actually turn-based, yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. It's not what game this is. Okay, so now what? Doesn't appear to be basically broken. Let's do some things. Well, we were able to successfully play at level, so I'd say it's working okay. Do I always release the games I make? No, there's some things. There are some things that are sitting around unreleased. They may get released someday. Who knows? Okay, so we're going to take all this and we're going to put it into something called issue transaction. Oops. Let's not copy to, there we go, okay. See, much simpler. Okay, issue transaction. Bam. Maybe I needed some other variables. Nope. Gosh, refactoring is so hard. I better have some unit tests because refactoring is scary. All right. Now what? Well, now we make a thing called force issue transactions. Have I seen the Half-Life Alyx trailer? Yes. I don't know why you're asking about that, but okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to do a thing called, well, okay, we're going to break out one more piece of code. So we've got this, we sort transactions every frame, which is a little goofy, but we're going to do that. And we're just gonna put it there, right? Because we're gonna want our transactions to be sorted Okay. We could even put compare transactions locally. Boy, refactoring is so scary. Better unit test that. Okay. Now what? We're going to do a thing called force issue transactions up through this manager parameter is redundant, but all right. And this is going to say sort transactions for manager move transactions. We don't actually want to go by pointer. This is manager. And if it is equal to t break, because these are sorted by issue time. So once we've done this one, which is a target transaction, we break. If it dot physically moved continue, because that's been issued sets the physically moved flag. Otherwise we go issue transaction it let's just call that target instead of t. All right. Wait. No. This is not good. This is wrong. Because if the target is physically moved, we'll keep looping. So we want to do this. This is sort of where you want a do while loop, but that's just not how we tend to do things in this language. So this is slightly awkward. Or we could check the target down in the loop tail instead. We could just say if it is equal to target. We could say if it is equal to target. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now what do we do? Well, we're not actually using this force issue transactions yet. So let's just make sure we can move and still do our illegal move and push things around and ride on lily pads and okay. That, again, we fell in the water. So that's a different thing that we have to debug because that should not be possible. There's some kind of timing we can do where we fall in the water. We're going to have to find a way to repro that because it's very rare. But it does happen. Probably a dumb mistake, but I don't really know what it would be. Okay. Now what? Well, here's our scary thing. So if we have pushes, here's the gross part, and why I'm not sure this is such a good idea of how to approach this. We're way down in the middle of a big function that has a lot of assumptions about what's going on. And we're like changing world state in the middle of that, which may not be the best idea. If only because like the thing is, the player may move here. But we could do this by recursing. We could say, if we do all this and we have a transaction we must move after. First of all, let's make sure we only return this if it's not yet issued, right? Or issued is the wrong... I don't know if that's the right term. Okay, so we did this way down at the bottom, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we only do this if it's not physically moved, which is good. So if we get this somehow, instead of this, scary hack warning. Maybe it's not such a hack. I don't know. Okay, if there's a transaction that we want to go after, then we say force issue, what is it called? Force issue transactions up through manager transaction we must go after. Return can go we can't even say wait, are we in move individual guy? We're in move individual guy, not can go. That's good. Return move individual guy orig delta transaction. All right. I mean, all right, well, that actually worked. No, it didn't. Wait, what? Okay. So it's a little weird. If I push twice, I get through, but if I push once, it kind of does it and then undoes it. Which I don't totally understand. Like that. Okay, let's look at the transactions. Okay, so we've issued a new one. All right. It's got a support of a rock and then 4 lilies, all as expected. I'm going to go. These are both issued now. My move is issued. And the lilies are issued. And the rock is being pushed. From 9:14 to 9:15, which are the correct positions, right? Because even though it's visually around 8, we physically bopped it over to 9. And we'll work out making the visuals smooth later. But then, okay, if I do this, why it says I issued it from 9:14 to 9:15, but it thinks it's in 9:14. So okay, so the fishy thing about this is the following. Here's what I don't get. Okay. Again, we're going to start moving and force issue this. Now, our push has an issue time that's our push is auto issued. I think it went in the wrong order. Okay. So first of all, okay, here's what I think is happening. I think when we create the transaction, it's being added to the transaction list, which is a little bit error prone, but we're doing that so that we can detect unclosed transactions. We're not checking whether the transaction's closed. So we're firing this transaction when we say force move everything, but it's an empty transaction. So like, okay, we're gonna put double extra protection. When we close a transaction, we're just gonna assert it's not physically moved, which makes sure we didn't accidentally do it. And then when we do a force issue, we say if target or if it.closed continue, this is the transaction we are currently working on while we force others. Don't issue it, please. Okay. Let's see if my theory about the Brontosaurus is correct. So, all right. So we've issued this, or no, we haven't issued. See, it should be issue, I guess, versus commit. So it should be force commit. All right. So now, see, our top one is yellow. Our top one is yellow, which is better. If I ask, where's the rock? It's here. Yep, that is correct. Of course, there's that big teleport look, but look at that. It ended up in the right place. Okay, I'm not totally sure that this is the right way to solve the problem in the long term, but it is the simplest way to solve the problem, and that is appealing to me. That is appealing to me. We'll try it. I'm going to put a colon here instead of a comma. I mean, that was probably going to take at least several hours of programming to do it the other way I was going to do it. And that other way might have been more complicated. So we're going to try it this way. And you know what? So this thing where we force the transaction, we only want to do this if there are pushes. If there are pushes, we need to ensure, oh no, you know what? No. Okay. And you know, okay, so the note to put here is where was the other place? Where we decide to wait. See, I keep forgetting this. There's some other place where we have the other condition. So this condition is, hey, here's a lily transaction where if you wait for it, you'll be able to step on a lily. There's one about stepping off a lily, right? Where was that? I think we just set it on the single move. I guess it was all just this part. Okay. Right. Okay, so the first part happens in here, and the second part happens in here. Now, the interesting thing is, now we never set this on here. No check-in. This facility is currently never used. Can be removed unless we re-enable it. Okay. That would be fine. Do I have any estimate when the game will be finished? Nope. Nope. Is the water supposed to run away? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. That's great. I mean, it doesn't look great, but that is so much better than what we had. And we'll be able to fix the other part. So sort of what's going on there is, if you remember, if anyone was here back a few streams when we did pushing, we did our linear algebra to ensure that when something is being pushed, we only move it parallel to the push direction. So we're maintaining, instead of letting it slide more in front of the character, we're maintaining its lateral situation. And so what we will want to do is detect that it's not in another transaction. And if so, then we correct that quickly over time. So what'll happen is it'll just slide in front of my hand and look good. But we're not going to worry about that yet because we're concerned about correct gameplay for now. Which honestly, I mean, dude, that was the hard problem that we needed to solve. So, like, frankly, at this point, I'm just going to play the game a bit and see if there's any problems, right? I mean, let's do some basic crap. Works like a dream. Our new movement system is real good, bro. I can just jam through the game without a care in the world. Spoilers. Whoops. Okay, the undo doesn't totally work. So anytime I have to undo, we're in danger zone. Let's skip forward a few levels. That's our modified level that I don't even remember. Spoilers. Spoilers on our modified level that is no longer part of the original Mirror Isles. Let's do this. Just whoops! I went too many levels. I went forward into the Arctic times. Right. How should I do this? I mean, these pretty much work. Do we have an art director? I am doing some art direction, but less than I historically would have done. So art direction duties are more shared on this game. And these are not final visuals yet. Like the water is going to be a lot more interesting. But you know, there's something. Okay. We have standards. Wait, why didn't my thing sync? Okay. Mirrors are supposed to destroy. We got the particles. No, all right. That's a minor thing that I'm not going to care about yet, but it's probably commented out with a no check-in, honestly, because I didn't know where to put it. But mirrors are supposed to like dissolve in water when you push them in like that. Okay. You know what? Let's make a release build. And we'll play in style. It does start to resemble in style To the Witness a little bit, but not too much. You guess it's shallow water. It is shallow water because you can push rocks in to fill up the water. So, yeah. Some scary water if it can melt mirrors. No, it's that the mirrors are magic, and the magic... Salt ruins magic, don't you know that? Can you drown in it? Of course you can drown in it. Because it's got a very muddy bottom that you can't stand on. Also, the boat is the size of a human. Let's not get picky. Let's not get picky. All right, we're compressing bitmaps and crap. Okay. Okay, rovers are probably kind of broken. Yeah. So we established that before. So we're not really testing that right now. Which also means I'll be able to get this gem very easily because it'll just go right through me. I mean, this all seems to be working. It's almost like I could play a video game here. It's almost like we make video games at the company where I work at. Oh wait, do I want to leave that on? My guy does look kind of drunken, if I'm being honest. No, because we need to... That beam blocks us until we open this door up here that we need 3 gems for. Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that worked. Oh, let's get the map. All right. So now, it's almost like this is going to be a good video game. All right. I don't think we actually want that orange beam on yet. I think it's just gonna cause problems for us. Anyway, so that's working. Yeah, you can hold down directions if you want. What is the target difficulty? As hard as sausage roll? No. So the thing about Steven's sausage roll is it doesn't give you a lot of choice, right? On any particular world of sausage roll, you can you have some non-linearity in how you approach puzzles, but that rapidly dwindles, and then you have to 100% each world. This game is not like that. So there are going to be some hard puzzles in this game. There may well be some that are harder than puzzles in sausage roll. Who's to say? But you're not ever forced to solve them. So you can make progress and play the rest of the game. So it's potentially harder sometimes, but it's much more forgiving in that sense too. When you call get font at size, does the dynamic font build the atlas there and then for all the glyphs? Or does it do so as it counters them? It's on demand as it encounters the glyphs, which is not ideal because you could, in theory, have a frame rate hitch or something. But the problem is, if your font is like Chinese, that's a lot of glyphs, most of which you're actually not going to use, right? So unless you knew in advance exactly all the glyphs that you might draw, which for some programs you might know that, right? So like if it's a single player game and you have a dictionary of all the strings in all the languages, I mean, you're not going to use all the languages. So if you pare that down, you could do that. It's just a pain in the butt. But then as soon as anything else happens, that's out the window. So if it's a multiplayer game, you might need to draw an arbitrary player's name. And how do you do that? You don't know who's going to connect. So, yeah. What is the hour-long puzzle going to be in this game? That's a good question. We don't have one right now. Maybe we won't actually have one. That character is not allowed. Please choose a different name. But the problem is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Uh-oh. Our lighting is messed up. And we're going real slow. Unsupported light probe file. All right, well. Okay, we're getting one less light probe error every time. There we go. Well, does that fix it if I save that out? Apparently not. All right. Well, I also have some errors in save games, which I have to work on. I might do that at work today. All right, well, this is weirdly green. And that's making it really ugly. I don't remember the non-elite way to get past here. So let's just do it the boring way. All right, well, colors are super ugly because we have some kind of light probe problem. We will fix that. But the gameplay is working just fine. What is the white flash? It's a checkpoint. We'll make it not be a white flash eventually. Have I ever experimented with a gauntlet style puzzle that ramps up in difficulty over time and doesn't end? Not with a puzzle, exactly. With something that's not totally a puzzle, yes. There's literally nothing to be actually gained from working at web shop backend. I wouldn't say nothing. I haven't been following the discussion, but the thing is, you have to count opportunity cost in everything, okay? Like, yes, you could learn something from most jobs, but also while working those jobs, you're not doing the other things that you could have been doing. And especially if you're young, if you're in your 20s, that time is super, super valuable. It's like, you know, it's the same way, like if you had a bunch of money in like an index fund that's generating positive income over time, that happens exponentially. So if you have that money in the bank really early, it's way better than if you put it in the bank when you're like 50, right? Same thing. If you get good early, that pays off exponentially. And people don't understand this. It's very important to understand. We're going to have to do something about that scrolling there, but I don't remember how to get this out. I might have already screwed it up. I got to do this. This is an awkward scrolling spot. And then this part is hilarious. game's so much easier when you've played it a billion times. All right. I mean, honestly, the next step is making undo start to work. How's that water reflection done? I think it's just a couple of normal maps that are being moved relative to each other, and then you just take a specular reflection off there. I don't think it's not switching them on and off. It's animating them through each other and then adding the normals or whatever. In this puzzle, how do you know where to go? You just go. You go forward. Falling off lilies is mostly fixed. There is still a very rare falling off lilies problem, but it is mostly fixed. So like I should be able to run all around, and we're gonna have to do something about this game speed thing, but you know. But the actual falling off lilies part is fixed. This is, I feel so good about this, dude. This is so much better. This is the shit. Okay. Let's try what was that level called? Rotating cavalry space. Okay, so we're starting over. I'm hiding behind this thing. I don't know why the dragons... They're acting like they're going to breathe fire more than they should. And they're all doing it at the same time, which is weird. I don't get that. Whoops. So... this might be the next thing to work on, is playability here. And also, like, why the hell are... okay, that was just me asking for it. All right, well, I did an undo, so that's no good. So basically, the way this level works is I'm hiding behind the obstacle so they can't breathe on me. I think it's broken, so it's making all dragons breathe? I don't know what's going on there. This is very weird. Anyway, so the way this works is I'm safe while I'm hiding behind this. And then if I go out here, I have to not be in the same row as a dragon breath. And so I kind of have to go back and hide, probably. And the thing is, it's a little bit hard to judge. But we can do... whoops. All right. But, we can do... we can do a little bit of interesting stuff to make things like this more playable. Like, again, like we were doing with the lily pads, like if a dragon is gonna breathe on you, but you're moving out of that square, we can give you a little bit of extra benefit of the doubt that you're moving out. Like that one time when I got tagged and it looked like I shouldn't, I was probably just on the edge of being about to move. And that'll be transactionally consistent because we just force your move to go sooner. But what's really bothering me right now is the frickin' dragon breathing. So let's figure that out. Is that flap a giant tongue? It's some kind of like breath pouch thing, but it looks weird. Like, I don't know. It's modeled after something from some actual iguana or something, but it's weird. We need to do something about it. Okay, why are all the frickin'... Okay, let's put one of these here so that we can determine if there's a bug about... Whoops. Okay, I don't think it's that they're all animating. No. So why are these other guys acting like they're going to breathe on people? Are they detecting themselves? And like, I don't get it. All right. Okay, well, here's what we could do. Here's what we could do. We can put the player up where she will never get breathed on by a dragon. So now, all of these are mistakes. There is no legit dragon getting ready to breathe on anything, and then we just put a breakpoint where that is. Okay. So let's get a debug build going. And I don't even remember. Okay. Okay, so I think it's... I think it's here. I think it's if we have a primary enemy ID. Right, so set enemy ID. We set that for goblins. Okay. I think we want to do that. I think we want to know, is it that? All right. All right. So, are we setting enemy ID? Yes, we are. Why? Why? What is the enemy ID? 0. Conditions. Enemy ID not equal 0. Okay, it's not that. Well, are we somehow animating wrong? Okay. Set enemy ID does not do the right thing when you pass it 0. That's what's going on. Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on. Now I'm confused because it looks not that bad. Okay. So we shouldn't be sending go state active. All right. We're not doing anything there. So I think this is doing the right thing. I think our go state active is happening the wrong place. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go to send message. Is that in this file? We're going to go here. See if it's the right thing. Is this a dragon monster? Yes. So where are we coming from? We are coming from update move transactions. Okay. Okay, we just say if a monster ends a move transaction, have it go active, which doesn't make that much sense to me. I think this is just old. So like we never really have quite done good animation control work on the monsters yet. So set enemy ID. Let's go M. Go to active or inactive based on whether enemy is set. Kind of dumb. All right. All right, look, they're no longer freaking out. So now, this is actually correct what's happening. Because like, they're supposed to go into active when they would be breathing into when they're 1 square away from toasting me, right? Which is when they're down this empty aisle to the north or to the south, right? So like if I go here, I get toasted. Now it is a little bit, I'm a little bit not sure. Yeah. Then that's what happens when I do an undo. So that's weird. Like, I guess the lily pads are going slower than the player. Right? You ideally would want them going the same speed as a player motion, so that if it's in the next square, like right now, if it's in a square below me, but I go down, I catch up to it and I get toasted, which you would want that not to happen. So I'm just going to put a note here that says, our notes are not very good. Maybe we'll tune those up someday soon. Tune lily speed so that it's about the same as the player's speed so that you don't catch up to fire breath as you walk south. And the reason I'm not doing that right this second is because we're still messing with the player speed in the movement code. Okay. Now what? That might be it for the stream for this morning. Like maybe it's just time for me to go to work. I wasn't expecting to have, whoops, to have such a quick solution for that problem. That's weird. The push on this is visually incorrect, so we're gonna have to deal with that. Ah, I didn't quite make it. All right. Ugh, see? So here's the thing. I guess I could do this. That makes it easier. See, I only have to go 1 square. And then I'm safe. They don't seem to be, I think the visual effects for things teleporting off lily pads are not activating correctly. Yeah, it looks like when I push this, it's going to the wrong place. Like, let's get rid of some of the extra things here. Yeah, see, it ends up in the right place, but it's being pushed incorrectly visually. And I think that's because it's using the delta from my character in some way. So my character is deltaing by 2 squares. But he should only push by 1. Right? And I think it's using the move type from this. Maybe work on undo now. No, we're going to do undo next stream because that's a serious topic. It's not that easy. I mean, it's maybe not that hard, but I just want to look at this. I think it's probably that when we call pushes, are we in? Let's see what happens when we call pushes. Let's make our startup there. Okay. So we're going to check pushes here. So our pushes is an array with one thing in it. All right. Wait. Pushing ID. I forget what we use that for, but okay. For every push, we get the move info. So delta is y equals 1. It is the right thing. Promised light is what that beam projector is. So, well, let's look at the move info that we get back. Start position target. Okay, no, you know what it is? This is all going to be fine. The thing is, we're setting the move type to pushed. And the problem is the controller for pushed is doing the wrong thing. It's going to be using the wrong delta. So if we go to movement visuals, when an object is pushed, no, I guess it's in move transaction. When an object is pushed, we say update pushed position. So let's go there, right? And what this does, it says who's pushing me, right? And then it's using the delta from that guy, which is fine if it's a linear move. Or like a controller move or something. It is not fine if it's a teleport. Because when you teleport into an object, we do this thing where it just kind of gets pushed out of the way. But we can handle that back in pushes, I think. Let's, because instead of saying pushed, we could have it be a different move type. Like, whoops. So down here, we already would have our single move. Yeah. So we could look at this and say, if it's a teleport, then leave this linear interpolation. All right, we're going to do that. This is a little weird. Okay. And instead of just being linear interpolation, this frees us up to make it a different thing later. Like maybe there's just a special move type that has like a wobble animation of like you teleport it into place and displace this thing by a square or something, right? But for now, we're just going to, okay. We're going to say, assert transaction single moves is greater than 0. We're going to say what are we going to say? We're going to say primary move or instigating move is teleport. That's going to be false, right? And then if that's a teleport, see how much faster it is to just know what your code should be than like having to like tab complete. Like you just think your thought, dude. You have long variable names, you just type them. Just type your 27-letter variable name. It's fine. You just do it. So if that's teleport, we do want to have the language feature where we could just do that. That'll be great, but we don't have that yet. Okay. So if it's teleport, then, whoops, that's true. Instigating move is teleport is true. Okay, so if it's a teleport, don't set the move type to push because the behavior of push is to track the character. So instead, we leave it linear interpolation. If we want a custom knocked out of place move type later on, we can add that here. Bam, worked the first time. Well, compiled the first time. And worked the first time. So all you Visual Studio Code people with your frickin' whatever the hell it is, Roslyn bullcrap, just get out of here, man. All right. change your unit tests. All right, so now what? I can't push because there's a dude there. That's good that that still works. That would make me sad if it didn't. There's a block there. Can't go. Can't go. All right. We're starting to have a video game here, is what we're saying. We're starting to have a video game. So now the problem is pulling is going to have the same issue. Now this won't. See, because... Oh, wait. I guess if we're in teleport, we don't pull. So that's fine. It's only, like, we would have the analogous thing to the push. Like by displacing. But this character is not strong enough to push displace. So we don't have the issue. It's only the fighter who could do that. Well, not only the fighter, but on this map, only the fighter. Another thing fixed in a couple minutes, time to undo. No, it's time for me to go to work and work on things off stream. But this is good. Like, this is real progress. So, like, yeah, the next thing is going to be implementing the undo and making sure that at least appears to work. There's a little bit of a drag about undo. And that is that because undo gets saved in save games, as soon as we turn that on, we're going to have to start maintaining the version numbers on these things. And that's a little bit scary because, see, I already have this warning here. We're going to want to make this warning real big. Like, if you edit this struct, now you're going to have to version tag anything in any of these. Anything in single move, move transaction, or move info. So we're going to want to do a little step where we clean out anything that's currently not being used. And then, yeah. But if you look at this, these are all scalars, so they're real easy to serialize. So it should go without incident, hopefully. Hopefully. Because we already actually build them. Okay, so the way that we can serialize stuff is we go to this metadata, right? And we have, the metadata just pre-processes this stuff in a way that's good for us to serialize and looks at all the notes and whatever and compares version numbers. And we already do that for move transaction. We don't do it for single move. So we're going to want to do that. Maybe we'll pull single move out. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave it here and we'll put a version here. Right? And then we'll make a separate metadata for it next time. And then that'll be good. And then we'll start saving stuff. And all that. Could just toss every save game with undos in them. Well, we're going to do that because the thing is, if we load a save game that has undos that doesn't, well, I don't know. I mean, okay, if we load a save game that has undos that doesn't have transaction data, that's going to be wrong for all of the levels that have timed stuff in them anyway, which is like, probably about 150 of them. So there's not really any sense in saving those. So we might just bump the save game version when we add this stuff to it. Well, we will bump the save game version because it'll have different undo data in it. The question is, do we decide to load older save game data? And I'm inclined to just throw it out. Now, the thing is, there is a different save game loading bug that I have to, that's probably one of the things I'm going to do at work. You notice we got a crash earlier today when we loaded a save game. I had to go delete the save game. I have other repros of that I have saved off, and I'm going to go try to fix that at work today. Because that's also relevant to this. Like, it'll be harder to do this if we have some other lurking bug that causes us problems, right? So I'm gonna fix that, and then this one we're gonna do maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. And we are so close. Well, we're not so close. We're getting eventually to be kind of close to having this transaction system checked in as the new one for the game. And that is going to be great because honestly, this is the last big question mark in terms of like, will this game be good? Like, will it feel solid? Having this movement system was sort of the last question mark. And so far the answer is yes, we'll probably be able to make it feel solid. Now, we haven't done that yet. We need to do that in all these specific cases, like Dragon Breath cases and whatever, but like, it's already way better. Like that level that I just played with the moving dragons, even though I could get dinged sometimes that felt unfair, it's way better than it is on the version of the game that the rest of the team has. Like, it's unplayable for everybody else. So, I can at least mostly play it right now, and then we do some tweaks to bring the playability the rest of the way. That is good. That is good. Is it custom serialization format, text, or binary? We have both for different purposes. That would be rough to redo all the test cases. Not really. Like, it's only 150 levels. I mean, just play 50 levels a day, and when you get bored of that, go do something else. Have it done in 3 days. Like, if you actually work 8 hours in a day, you can get a lot done, all right? Let's say it takes me 5 minutes to re-record a level, which it probably shouldn't because some of these levels are short, but let's say I don't remember some of the solutions and it takes me 5 minutes on average. That's 12 levels an hour, dude. That's like 14 hours to redo all of them, which is a day and a half, plus a little bit. Like, okay, so 2 days conservatively, that's not that much time. And to be quite honest, that's a very long average. It's not going to be 5 minutes average per level. Just, if you're just willing to sit down and put in some work, it's fine, right? Do a stream doing that? Maybe. I mean, really what's going to happen is that we start doing all those levels and re-recording some of them, and we're going to run into some problems. Either things that the new movement system doesn't do correctly. Oh, we forgot one. Like the mirrors falling into water. We're not going to fix that right now because we're ending the stream, but things like that. Like, oh, I pushed a mirror into the water. It didn't dissolve because in the new movement system, we don't handle that correctly. And then we go stop and fix those things. So that's what's going to take a little more time for those levels. But that's good because it helps us get the new system done. Yeah, if you work. I mean, the thing is, the problem, one of the main problems with software today is that most of these people who claim to go in and work 8 hours a day at their software job don't work 8 hours. They work like 3 hours. They're like on Reddit the rest of the time or whatever. So if you actually work 8 hours, you get really a lot done. You program maybe 5 hours a day at work due to meetings. Yeah, I mean, meetings is a different issue. Like, meetings are necessary sometimes. They're a good idea sometimes. But you want to keep them short and you want to keep them to only the relevant people, right? And so companies are not very good at doing that. And that can waste a lot of people's time. But that actually, you know, meetings count as work time. So if you actually work an 8-hour day with some of that burned up by meetings, well, the meetings are the company's fault, man, not yours. That counts. But if it's 8 hours a day and 2 hours on meetings and 3 hours on Reddit, then you're only working 3 hours on code. So, yeah. Production cycles are still being figured out, so meetings make sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, meetings get frustrating and boring sometimes too, but you need them. You need to figure things out sometimes. You had a meeting go for 40 minutes because of meaningless bullshit? Dude, 2-hour meetings are not uncommon. It is not uncommon to be in 3-hour-long meetings in a row at companies, right? Like, that's just a thing. Forgot 3 hours playing the witness, yeah. Yeah, 40 minutes is kind of a short meeting. It's better to be in a boring meeting for 2 hours than to miscommunicate and have to redo stuff that should have been done differently. That is true. Now, the problem is when you have the 2-hour meeting and it doesn't actually communicate what needs to be communicated, right? And that happens a lot. So, yeah. You've heard of teams that have a daily meeting where they just go through a list of bugs and ask, is there anything new on this since yesterday? Yeah, dude, that's a stand-up from like Agile or whatever. Scrum, whatever the words are right now. It's kind of pointless. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. Time for me to go to work. We're getting somewhere. This is good. We're getting somewhere on the movements. Let's see if we can host anybody who's programming. What do we use to record playback? We use the Unreal Engine with a bridge to Unity with JSON in protobufs, React.js, Angular, spaghetti noodles on Kubernetes. Yes. Or however, Kubernetes. I don't even know how you say that. Let's see. Oh, I see Lana streaming, but we just hosted her. We'll do that. We'll do that if there's not a better alternative. Or not better, but not an alternative that we haven't hosted recently. I'm not seeing him. Oh, Angular. We could do some Angular soldering. Docker JS Node React. Would I host someone who does awesome hardware stuff? If it's fun to watch. Ravenfall development. Looks like it's in Unity or something. Project exclamation point Summers, but there's some cats in the corner. What is that? No, that's just the image of some bird situation. It's actually in C#, so we could do that. Oh, it's the Dungeon Man's guy. We could host Dungeon Man's. Ninja Dogs. All right. Someone's linking me a different. What is this? Hardware Dude. What's he doing? Acoustic levitator. I don't know. Okay, do we do hardware guy or do we do Dungeon Man's guy? I need some quick votes so we could raid somebody and go. Dungeon Man's. Okay, we got a lot of Dungeon Man's votes, so that's what we're going with. Maybe next time we do hardware guy. Thank you everybody for coming by, and I'll see you later. I don't know if his new game is a dungeon game. It's just the people who made Dungeon Man's.